What is up, Raider Nation? It's your boy Simone Raider back with another Simone Raider show, man. I know it's a little bit later than usual. We usually go live in the mornings, but today we went live basically at night. So this is gonna be a night show because it's on me and some things went on with my schedule earlier on. But we are here. We're still gonna talk some Raiders football and still got Raider stuff to talk about. And during the offseason, there's always something to talk about when it comes to the Raiders. Now, we know that Maxx Crosby finally posted his episode on the Rush, and he basically broke his silence on the whole Ravens trade saga. And I know for him, a lot of things might have been going on in his mind. I know a lot of emotions were going all over the place. I think for Raider fans in general, we all felt some type of way about the trade as well, and even him coming back. But we finally get to hear from that, and we'll talk about that in today's show. We'll also talk about some of the moves that the Raiders made, bringing back Thomas Booker, also going out and getting a new offensive lineman to add to this offensive line already, man. I already said that I love the free agency that the Raiders have done so far, but adding a lot more weapons, even depth, is huge for this team, and I love the moves that they made today, bringing in big old Spencer Burford. But without further ado, I want to give a huge shout out to everybody that's up in the chat right now for the one time, man. 213 Vibes. I got Lord. I got AP 209. We got Mike up in the building. We got Showman, and we got Jose and Hobo Raider. Let's go, top 5 creator, baby. Man, I appreciate you guys up in the chat right now. But without further ado, we got to bring on the honorary Oos, the big Oos, Joe Morley.
Good evening. Good evening. Hey, we got a show going on, so that's always good. It's always a good day when we can talk Raider football.
Yeah, of course, man. Hey, Oos. I was gonna say Happy Leprechaun Days.
Happy Leprechaun Day.
Happy Leprechaun Days. No, Happy St. Patrick. Hey, Happy St. Patrick's Day to you. Did I say it right? I don't know if I did, but I think that's how we say it.
Yeah, whatever. Top of the morning or whatever we're supposed to say on St. Patrick's.
I hope tip of the cap. I hope that the Raiders could get some treasure or some good luck this season. I want to feel like this guy, I want to feel like this guy right here. Shout out to Fernando.
Would it be Fernando
McDoza
or
Fernando Mendoza?
What would be his Irish name?
What would be his Irish? Okay, let me see. What would be Fernando Mendoza?
Hey, this looks like later on in the night. He's already cut a couple green beers in.
They say okay, I don't even know how to pronounce that. Let's see. Finian Mendoza, or okay, I don't know. I'm kind of lost with that. Yeah. But hey, Fernando. Hey, this is gonna be the Fernando Mendoza when he comes to Las Vegas. That's for sure. He's gonna be partying it up. He's Finnegan Mendoza. Hey, shout out to Democus up in the chat. Finnegan Mendoza. I like that. Fernando McGregor. Yeah, if you guys got any names, let me know down in the comments below, man. But yeah. We here, we having a good time, and like I said, hopefully the Raiders get that. Fernando McNugget. McNugget. But happy St. Patty's Day to everybody that's up in the chat right now, and happy St. Patty's Day for the Raiders themselves, Oos. But Oos, man, we definitely got a lot to talk about today. And the Raiders made some moves today, which shout out to them. I give them props for at least going out there and not being afraid to make some moves. They've been making moves all offseason long, but I say the first move that the Raiders made was bringing back Mr. Thomas Booker. They re-signed him. I know that he was on a tender. The Raiders put a tender on him, but I guess nobody wanted to bring him in. So, hey, come back to the Raiders. He gets to rejoin with Rob Leonard, and we get our guy back over here in Las Vegas. And I think just for the camaraderie that he has with the defensive line already, especially having Maxx Crosby back, I think that this is a good move. Especially, the Raiders traded to bring this dude in, and I think that he showed some flashes last year. But what are your thoughts on the Raiders bringing back Mr. Thomas Booker?
Well, I like this move last year when they traded for him, and I know a lot of people got upset because they sent Bennett for him. And remember that conversation? They were like, "Oh, why are we sending a starting cornerback over there?" Because we need the depth at the defensive line, which we didn't have. And he came in. He came in pretty clutch. He has a lot of reviews, especially from some of the guys in Philadelphia. I thought he had a pretty good season last year in his rotation, and you know that Rob Leonard must have loved him to be able to bring him back. And like you said, good teams need depth. Good teams need
Hmm.
depth. It's just another step towards it, and having that rotation on the defensive line, you can't have too many good players.
No, I agree. And like I said, already bringing somebody in that has that rapport with the team already, with the coaching staff already, I think this was a solid move. No, nothing crazy, but I think the Raiders definitely got somebody that would definitely contribute this year to the defensive line. But the Raiders didn't just stop there. Now the Raiders did have a visit today with Mr. Spencer Burford, but we find out that the Raiders, not too long after, have officially signed him to the roster. I think this is good. You know, he brings versatility. He has a little bit of a connection with Clint Kubiak going back to San Francisco, and you bring in a guy that is at least a top end depth player for this team and could possibly be a starter depending on how camp goes. But what are your thoughts on Spencer Burford, and do you know a little bit more about him?
Well, here's the good thing about him. He's 25 years old, right? He can play guard. He started 9 games, I think, last year at guard for San Francisco. That was after an injury that forced him out for a little bit. He can play tackle. Early in his career, he was a swing tackle. I think he's more of a guard though. So when you're looking at it, we need offensive line depth, right? And if you
Yep.
can say, hey, you come into camp, you have a good camp, maybe you could become a starter. Okay, cool. That's the low risk that we're taking with him. He is a little inconsistent, especially in the past. He's more of a run blocker, or where he's succeeded in it so far in his career. But that could just be where he's at. That could be situation. That could be coaching. That could be a lot of stuff. But he has a lot of experience in the outside zone blocking scheme. So that right there is a plus for him coming over to us. I like it because what have we talked about? The offensive line. And what do we preach? Depth. So
Depth, yes.
anytime you can add somebody like that and you can add a lot of experience. We already brought back what? Jordan Meredith. You have Caleb
Hmm.
Rogers. JPJ is moving to guard. So now we actually have some people in there. And if injuries happen, we have people that can step up. And like I said, let him let him have his chance. Let him have his chance. Doesn't hurt to be like, okay, we're gonna have competition, right? Remember that word from last year? We're gonna have a competition. Uh,
Competition is.
so let him do it. Like I don't have a problem with that. I don't know what the numbers are, but I'm sure it's not that much. And he visited with the Chargers yesterday.
I heard
He
about
got out
that.
of the building and came over to us. So I'll take it.
Yeah, and the thing, like going off of your point with depth, right? That's huge, especially on the offensive line, because if you don't have, it doesn't matter who your starters are. You could have like great starters, right? But if one of those guys go down and you don't have a backup that could, pick up, then it was for nothing. And I think the Raiders right now, I think depth on the offensive line is huge, and I like the signing. I do. I didn't expect too much out of him, but I guess a lot of people have been saying that he would be a quality backup for any guard position, whether it's left guard, right guard, whatever you want to utilize them. And shout out to the chat. Jason Marshall saying that Spencer is 25 years old. So yeah, we definitely got a
Yeah.
youth moving in here, and we got guys that could build. And like I said, we drafted 2 offensive linemen last year that are still going to be growing with this team moving forward. So that I think that's huge for this team. And I mean, heck. Tyler Linderbaum is 25, 25, 26 years old or somewhere around there. He's still young, so he's going to grow. So we got a young offensive line here that I feel really, I felt confident in to go out there and at least compete and at least put, we could put the best five forward and that's going to be huge when we finally put Fernando Mendoza out there, whenever we do, right? And
Yeah.
well, one thing I do want to say, somebody brought this up in the chat. Shout out to what's his name? Did I forget him? Oh, Bronco Blueprint. He says Boise State channel here. Excited to see Genty this year tear it up. And that's another thing that I want to bring up because we talked about it before. The offensive line is going to be huge not for our just for our rookie quarterback, but also for Ashton Jensen. I think after what we've seen from Ashton Jensen last year, who's to say that he can't break out this year and go over 1,000 yards and we could see the best out of it? I think we're going to be a run first team, and like you said, Burford is great in the run game, so I think it's a solid addition to this team. Now, one thing that I seen that I woke up and I read an article. I read an article on the Raiders beat, and of course we both talked about how important it is to bring in a bridge quarterback, right? A mentor. We talked about Derek Carr, of course, and we both have our thoughts on that. But another quarterback that was brought up was, of course, Joe Flacco, and according to Jeremy Fowler on this article. He stated that Joe Flacco, who's been around, has started a lot of games. He is available. He's weighing options right now. Speaking of Vegas, I'm told that that is an option for him. That they would have interest in potentially bringing him along as a backup / bridge if Fernando Mendoza was to be the draft pick for the Raiders, which he will. And I think we talked about it before. I think Joe Flacco coming off of a Pro Bowl year, right? Throwing for over 2,000 some yards, 15 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. I think would be the prototypical quarterback that could come in and be that mentor. And I think he would definitely fit that bridge quarterback role for the Raiders as far as right now. But what's your thoughts on Joe Flacco?
Yeah, I'm good with Joe Flacco. We talked about it the other day, and I'm good with what he's done. And Duke can still play, like if
Yeah.
needed to, like if something does happen, or if they want to start him for a couple games, let Fernando do it. But I mean, and if anything goes wrong, he can always just be like, "Hey, Fernando, check this out," and show him his Super Bowl ring, and be like, "Just let you know, I've been there. I've been to the top of the game. I've been at the bottom of the game. I've been where people have wrote me off." Because remember, Joe Flacco was supposed to be done. He was done a couple years ago.
That's true.
And then he got the comeback player of the year over a guy who died on the field. That's kind of crazy, but he won that award when he came back. So he has been to he's I guess you could, like, if Fernando has any questions, he's been, like I said, to the top and to the bottom of this league, and he could walk him through it.
Yeah. Well, would you say that he's like out of the quarterbacks out there? Like I know Kirk Cousins is a really a flashy name out there. Is a name out there that a lot of Raider fans want. If you had to choose between the two, who would you rather go with?
Whoever takes less money.
Oh, I mean, that's true. You bring up a good point. Yeah, you bring up a good point, because I put them in kind of like the same bracket. I wouldn't mind either, but I guess it depends on how much they would want, and knowing how much the market's been going right now, who knows? Cousins, you already got paid a lot of money. You don't need that much more money. Come over here for a one year $1.1 million contract. Which I doubt that he would come over here for, but yeah, I mean, it's been kind of what happened. Oh, I didn't know if there was any news that.
Oh no! I was just laughing because I'm like, I'm cheap when it comes to backup quarterbacks. I'm cheap, but I want a good one. But I don't want to spend a lot. That's why I said, like, that's why I was talking about Derek Carr. Like, if Derek Carr wanted, he ain't gonna put his money where his mouth is. He ain't gonna come over and play for league minimum. That's why
You don't think so though?
No,
You don't think he'd come over here for the low?
no.
He said no.
I don't even think Joe Flacco will. But I mean, it has to be pretty cheap.
Damn. Yeah. Well. Yeah. I believe you on that. So there's been a lot of different moves around the league, right? There's a lot of different moves that's been going around around the league, and one move that I want to talk about a couple of them and get our thoughts on it, because I think I wish the Raiders could have got these players. Well, not this first player in general, but I feel like this first player we're going to talk about right now kind of affects the AFC West, and that being Jalen Waddle being traded to the Denver Broncos. They get their wide receiver, but they traded a first, a third, and a fourth for Jalen Waddle and a fourth-round pick. Now, my thoughts on this, I don't think that they overpaid for it, because you look at their first-round pick, it was a 30th overall pick. That's damn near a second-round pick. And I think the Broncos, as much as we hate them, are in a better position right now than the Raiders. And I think going off of last year, it seems as if they're in win-now mode. So if they do believe that, Jalen Waddle is that missing piece to the offense to help Bo Nix out, to play alongside of Cortland Sutton, then I think that they got a solid deal for him. I don't know how much this affects the AFC West, especially when we play them. But I think it's a solid move for them, though. But what's your thoughts on Jalen Waddle?
Well, I mean, I'm always going to troll the Bronco fans and say it's a
I mean,
bad deal.
same here, same here.
You know what I mean? But I understand what they're doing because they're thinking in their mind they were one game away from the Super Bowl, right? If they were going to draft a wide receiver at number 30,
Yeah,
they would have to wait for him to develop or hope that he comes in, ready to go. So you're getting the proven talent versus the rookie guy that has to go through that learning curve. And Bo Nix needs somebody that he can complete those easy short yardage to.
yeah.
And this is the guy. This is the guy that's going to be able to. I'm going to give people a hard time. I'm going to give Bronco fans as much hard time as I can. But it actually is a good trade for the Miami, who is trying to rebuild
Yeah.
and basically they're doing what Reggie McKenzie did a couple years ago with the Raiders. They're cutting it down,
Offloading them
they're
contracts is, yeah,
and they're getting rid of like they're I think their highest paid guy to make $11 million this year, and they're still over the salary cap. So they have that much dead money, but they have like 7 picks inside the top 100. And if you know me, I talk about the top 100 picks in the draft a lot. So they're going to get some youth in that building this year and keep going. So I don't think it was that big, but this just shows you that I don't know because this is the one. This is the only move that the Broncos have made this year so far.
yeah.
They haven't picked up any free agents, but they've lost people. But this is the only move.
Yeah, I think for them, they what they did was they made sure to bring back a lot of players, and I think they only lost like 2 3 key uh key players, but they brought back a lot of the players that they had from last year because I feel like they're going into this season trying to run it back with the team that they had last year. I don't know if it'll work for them or not, but if anything, they didn't lose a lot of key players, but I think this is a solid move for them. Like you said, they didn't really make any other moves out there, so who knows what the Broncos can do. Shout out to Bridge Quarterback for the $2 donation. He says, "Face it, y'all need me. Oos, we do need you. We need you on this team right now. I'd rather have you than AOC on this team. So, hey, whoever you may be, hey, Oos, the Bridge Quarterback is a masked man, so we don't know who it is. Oos, we're gonna have to unmask him, Oos, and we'll see who it is though. But I totally agree. We do need you, man. Waddle would have been a good pickup, but not for all of that. He ain't no Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson. I don't think that he is a Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson, but I would put him like a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL. I think given the right group, I don't know if he'll be top 10 talent over there in Denver, but we'll have to wait and see, especially with Bo Nix. Demo says ALC MVP incoming, baby. I don't know MVP of what though, but okay, okay. If AOC could be the MVP somewhere, then MVP for the preseason. That's where he usually is the MVP.
And I think that's the thing that surprised me of Waddle, that he went for a first round pick. We saw DJ Moore get traded for
Yeah, you're right.
a second round pick earlier this year. Waddle to me, he's a borderline number 1 wide receiver. He's fast but to me he's like that borderline number 1, number 2, more of a number 2 that needs somebody with them. And so I guess that's what surprised me was because like somebody was saying, like you don't put him as a top tier wide receiver. Like when you're naming top tier wide receivers, how far until you get to Jalen Waddle? Like he's up
Yeah.
there, but how far are you going? You're gonna get so that first round pick. I know people are like, well, it's almost a second round pick. I don't care. It's still a first round pick, and if somebody falls to you at number 30, it's still pretty damn good.
Yeah, no, that's true. Another move another move. Oh wait, hold on. Anyone notice how Jalen Naylor is real good at the back shoulder catches, and Mendoza is known for throwing those? That is true. That is true. I think Jalen Naylor, even though he's not somebody I was really hyped about when we signed him, he could be an underrated guy that hopefully proves a lot of people wrong. And, like, hey, I was worth the money that I got paid, and I think used correctly. I think the same situation can be said with Jalen Waddle. I think a new situation might help them out with a new quarterback and whatnot, but we'll have to wait and see. By the way, this new daily live show is keeping me going through my workday. Keep it up, please. I appreciate it, Bronco Blueprint. I don't know if you're a Bronco fan or a Raider fan, but hey,
No,
I
no, he's a
appreciate that.
Boise State.
Also, just straight, okay, just straight Boise State. Hey, love for Boise State as well. But another move that the Raiders, another move that happened around the NFL that, of course, hurt my heart. Was Wyatt Teller going to the Houston Texans on a 2-year deal with a max value of $23 million. Now, how do you feel? Because I was really big on getting Wyatt Teller. Do you think that they got a good deal for him? And I mean, would you have signed him for that much?
I think we as Raider fans kind of overrated him a little bit,
You
and
think
we put him
so?
up there. Yeah, come on, that Browns offensive line wasn't that great last year, and he was part of it. We we need offensive line, so I wouldn't have been mad. But $23 million, I don't know. But this is where we could talk about it a little bit. Where Max coming back to the Raiders kind of have if you
Has
don't think
stalled
it
him. Yeah.
if you don't think it affected what the Raiders were doing this offseason, it did because I'm sure the Raiders had a bunch of other plans to go along with the guys that they signed.
Yeah.
Because that would have been another $30 million that they would have thrown out there to other people, and I think they missed out. They're missing out on some of those people because Max came back. Not saying that we're not happy that Max is back, just saying that I'm sure the Raiders might have adjusted it just a little bit more to get a couple more players, and maybe Wyatt Teller was one of them. But without the money, without that $30 million that they would have had, you kind of got to go bargain bin, right?
No, 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 for sure. I understand that too, and I don't know. I just thought the veteran leadership that he has, or just being a veteran, especially on the offensive line, would have been nice on this team. But I do understand that the fact that where Max Crosby does play a part in this whole thing because it definitely shifted the way the Raiders went about free agency afterwards. Because after day one and after the whole thing happened on day two with Max Crosby coming back, the Raiders like halted on making any more like big moves. I don't think that the Raiders needed to make any more big moves to be honest, but I felt like there were a couple of moves that the Raiders could have made that they weren't able to make. But I think that's why we brought in guys like what's his name, Burford and whatnot. But I looked at the move and I was like, oh okay, this is one of the guys that I talked about. I know we talked about it a couple of times on the show, so I wanted to just kind of bring it up right now. Now,
Yeah, if you can get the Teller from like 2 years ago, where he wasn't with the injuries, he was like on it, yeah, then he's worth that 23 million. So that's what they're banking on, is the Wyatt Teller from basically 2 years ago.
yeah. Some news that came out not too long ago, I guess, or probably like an hour or two ago. David Njoku visiting with the Baltimore Ravens. Well, let's hope he passes his physical. That's all I gotta say. That's all I gotta say about that one.
Well,
Hope you
there's
pass
no
your
draft
physical.
picks attached to it, so don't ask him.
There's a what? Oh, there's a draft pick attached to it.
No, no, no. There's no draft picks attached to him, so it's good.
Oh, oh, yeah,
Uh,
that is true.
I don't know if you saw this. Mel Kiper and Daniel Jeremiah today put out mock drafts, their mock drafts of the first round, right? Those are two guys. Mel Kiper's been doing it for years. I like Daniel Jeremiah a lot. I respect his opinion. Mock drafts are mock drafts. They are whatever they are. But the interesting thing that both of them had today, and we've talked about this, both of them had uh, Caleb Banks out of the first round, not even in the first round. We talked about Caleb Banks' foot injury, so that
Yeah.
is a guy that could be falling. I don't know if the Raiders would take that risk at 36 because of how bad that foot injury is, or does he fall to the third round? I don't know. So that was an interesting thing that I did see today in the football world, that both of them, both highly regarded draft experts, right,
Yeah.
had him falling out of the first round. Where earlier this year, and that's the crazy part about the draft process is somebody can be high in early January at the end of the year, and then as we move on towards the draft, they start to fall. But the first guy that we see falling is Caleb Banks.
No, for sure. And like for you, if you were the GM, right? If you were the GM sitting at 36 and he falls there, do you think that's a little too high for him? Would you still take a chance on him or no?
I mean, for the Raiders, I don't know. That's still risky for us because we still have a lot of needs, and we'll rather get somebody that we feel more comfortable with that can actually impact. But as a team like towards the back of the first round, or a team that like is a more solid rounded team, I would take him. Like I could see this guy. I could see us having to block this guy because I could see him going to the Chargers all day.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah. For me, when healthy, would he be worth that pick though? Would you
Oh, when
say?
healthy, he's worth top 15 pick.
Yeah,
When
and
healthy,
that's what I'm thinking. But a lot, and the crazy thing is, a lot of players like this do fall down. And we had that before with Maurice Hurst. I remember when Maurice Hurst was considered a first round pick, and he dropped all the way to like fourth or fifth round pick. I remember we were talking to him about it, and he was just talking about like how he felt, and he was just like, damn, like all because of the physical that he took and stuff like that. And there were some red flags there. So that's why he fell down. And Caleb Banks, I think, is gonna, if you could get Caleb Banks in I say the third, even the fourth rounders, I think that'd be a huge steal for anybody, because you never know what kind of production. Like, so if it's around there, the third or fourth round, then I'm taking a chance at him. Just draft him, let him sit. But who knows? There might be a team that want to take him in the second round. But crazier things have happened in the NFL draft. That's why I say, like, don't mind taking a chance there. And when he does get healthy, that would be a huge pickup for the Raiders. Now, you know,
because when Caleb Banks is on the field, he's a game wrecker. He's a game
oh
wrecker.
yeah, oh yeah,
It's just keeping him healthy. I don't know if you saw this comment before you get into the next topic, but as a Niner fan, Buford is a solid backup, can fill in, and probably start for y'all. I'm gonna help on occasion.
yeah. And oh, that I read up on that, and that's what people were saying as well. Like, yeah, he definitely is a high end depth piece for the Raiders and has the potential to start. So I mean, if so, if he's out there competing and he could possibly be a starter for us moving forward, maybe we don't have to go and draft anybody, or maybe because we don't we got a lot of guards on this team, I think, as of right now, because everybody's
Well,
talking about the offensive line because we're forgetting about Lucky Tossi, right? And Lucky Tossi could start next year. Who knows? Maybe maybe Lucky Tossi could be our nose tackle.
yeah,
I don't know.
I threw it out there. I threw
You
it
threw
out
it
there.
out there. You threw it out there. But that being said, though, Oos, the main thing we wanted to talk about today, or Lee Hunter. Somebody said Lee Hunter, and it's like I think Lee Hunter has been mocked to the Raiders the most in mock drafts, and I would not mind it at all. I definitely wouldn't mind it at all. Uh,
Yeah.
Lee Hunter, you could go safety there. I mean, one thing's for sure, the Raiders have got to hit on those first 2 to 3 picks in the NFL draft. They got to be somebody that can contribute right away, at least those first 2 rounds, I would say. But outside of that, I think we should be good. As Ray says, if you burned your Max jersey, how you feeling right now? Oh, so I ain't never burned my Max jersey. It's still
I'm gonna
sitting
say
back there. I think you're crazy if you burned your Max jersey. It was a little too early for all that. You
Yeah,
know,
if you burned your Max jersey, I don't know what you were thinking to begin with, because
yeah, that's crazy. He should have gave it to me, good. But speaking of Maxx Crosby, that's a good segue getting into the Maxx Crosby situation. Now, Maxx Crosby did come out today. Well, they dropped their Rush podcast, right? They dropped their the Rush podcast today, and he finally got to speak out on the whole situation. And it's really crazy to think about it from his perspective, how that whole thing went down, because just as emotional as I was about the whole thing, Us was just as emotional about the situation as well. Like, damn, damn, I'm really leaving. Like, whether or not he wanted to leave, I think we all kind of know that he was open to leaving. I think it really hit him because this is the only team that he kind of grew with. But crazy things have came out. Like he basically said that it was a kind of a weird situation with Baltimore. Also, he didn't even get to meet Eric DaCosta until like late, or I don't even know that whole situation. And at the end, saying like, you know what, I guess it was just meant for him to be a Raider, and I think it was. So I wanted to kind of go over that today. I wanted to play the clip. I know some people might have seen it, might not have seen it, but we'll play the clip and then kind of go over it though.
Have my MRIs. Like I didn't like I was asking Joe, like, yo, like could I
So see, he knows Joe. So he was talking to Joe.
like before I left, I wanted to see the head coach, just chop it up, talk football, talk ball. Like he's a defensive guy, never met him before like that, so I wanted to chop it up. So I didn't get to meet with him till the end of the day. I didn't get to see the GM at all. I thought I was going to see him when I first
That's
got
the
there.
crazy
I
part.
didn't see him for 5 hours.
So he didn't
That
come
was-
out the whole time you're testing or doing your physical. Everyone's talking about.
Shame on you,
GM
DaCosta.
Never came once out. To
How do
see
you make
And I
a
don't know.
trade and
Yeah.
and the main guy's walking in the building and you're not
And
meeting him at the door?
and you're not there meeting them, Moose. That's the crazy thing.
Well, like if you're made a like this is the first guy they've ever traded first round picks for in the franchise. You're thinking that you're making a move for a championship, right? You're like this is your championship move. You're not meeting him at the front door. You're not meeting him at the front door. Like that right there already, or that already there throws a red flag up. Whoop, red flag.
You know why? You know why? Because they left that door open for him to leave in like a couple of hours. It was, like that's how fast the turnaround was. But yeah, that was crazy when I heard that. I was like, ooh, how can you not be there? Like you got to be there. Clapping for him when he comes in, you know, being happy about the whole situation. And yeah, Raider Jimmy Barbecue. I think we're gonna hear it here. Like he took a 5-hour flight and had a 2-hour drive to the damn facility. This is the guy you brought in, you traded for, and he got a drive 2 hours. That's crazy. He took a PJ to Washington and had to drive 2 hours. That's crazy.
Why? I'm not going to speculate. I didn't see him one time. I even asked the girl. I was like, "Where's Eric at?" Like, I want to say, like, you know what I mean? Like, he just made the trade. Like, I didn't see him for 5 hours. So I go and do my thing. At the end, they're like, "Yeah, I'll take you up." Joe was like, "I'll take you up and you go see the head coach, whatever, just before you leave."
Yeah, I told him
was
that.
like, "Hell
I told
yeah!" I
him
was
that.
like, "That's what I want to say what's up to him." So I went back up and I dap him up, and they could just tell like the energy was a little bit off. And the GM was standing in like the hall, like in the room next to me to the right. And that was the first time I seen him. And, you know, I'm just in my head, like this is a whirlwind. Like I'm so excited, like fired up. You know what I mean? Like this is a new opportunity, whatever. And you could just tell the energy was off. Like I dapped him up. He had like a blank face. And I'm like, okay, I'm not thinking anything of it. Maybe he's just different. I don't know. I don't know him, whatever. I go into the room. They sit me down on the couch. And he's like, "Man, I don't know how to say this, but, you know, one of our doctors has concerns with, you know, with the results and whatever, and like with your knee, like some of them have, you know, are concerned about the future and da. And, you know, we really want you and this is what it is, but, you know, we're just going to have to get more and more opinions." And I was like, the first thought in my head, like I was terrified because I'm thinking in my head, like, what the fuck? Like I just had like Neil Elitrosh, best fucking surgeon in the country, like the best of the best. He's done all my surgeries for the most part. Like, that's my guy. Like, I go to his house. Like, that's my dude. Like, he's the best.
Now you got him questioning his own
I
doctor.
haven't even got to talk to him, or I hadn't got to talk to CJ.
For real,
So it just kind of hit me. I'm like, what the fuck? Is there something wrong? Like, I'm freaking out. Like, low key, deep down. I'm like, I can't get another surgery. I can't, like, my time. I'm like, this is fucked up. So I'm fucking like, what is going on, bro? And CJ had been calling me right before I went up. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, CJ, let me hit you when I get out of here. And I was looking for Rachel. I don't know where Rachel's at. She was upstairs with the girls and stuff, like doing her own thing. They were.
He has no
helping her
clue
out.
at this moment, like what's going on.
Yeah, Rachel didn't know, but CJ like sent a text in the
That's
group chat, and I'm like,
crazy.
damn. So anyway,
It is crazy. It's,
fast forward, I want to take all day, but they tell me like, yeah, we're gonna get back to you, like we're gonna get some more opinions and things, like we obviously want you, this and that. And I'm like,
Cap.
all right, like, okay, so we'll see. So I don't know. So then I leave. I'm like, this is what the fuck. I get back to the hotel, bro. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what does this mean? Like, I'm calling whatever. Then I talk to Neil. Neil calls me, and he called me way down. He's like, Max, don't listen to any of that shit. He's like, your knee is great. You're exactly where you're supposed to be, or even ahead of schedule. He's like, you're doing everything right. He's like, they know you had your surgery 9 weeks ago. It's obviously if you get an MRI, like he's like showing me literally like the actual literature of like, this is where
And like you
he's
said,
supposed to
one
be
of
at
the
for
top
meniscus
doctors
repair. Like
in the
there could be
country.
MRIs, it could be
In the world.
misleading because it's still
Yeah.
fresh in surgery and this and that. He's like, listen, you're doing everything right. Everything's going well. We're going to keep sticking to the plan. He's like, you will be back by training camp. That has been the damn timeline since the beginning. That hasn't changed. You know, your stuff, you know, obviously everyone's mentioned a bunch of different things. All these doctors are mentioning different.
And that's what was communicated out of your camp too, correctly? Like during this
100%.
whole time.
Facts.
100%. So that's the thing. I'm like, okay. So now I'm like
Ian
kind of calm
Rappaport
down,
said
but
it,
at the same
right?
time, I'm like, well, what the
Yeah. I guess to stop there, but no, but that's what I'm saying though. It's like from his camp, like everybody knew, like if you were gonna trade for Maxx Crosby, you knew the situation. You knew he was gonna get a surgery. You knew like there might be a chance that he wouldn't really pass it, but you know that like he's gonna be good to go. And like he said, he talked to his guy and told him you're ahead of schedule. And that's the same thing that CJ, his agent, tweeted out when the whole thing broke out, when the Ravens backed out of the whole deal. And it's just kind of crazy to hear from his side of the story. And I know he's probably like, yo, like what the hell is going on just for all this to go down. But I mean, we talked about that though.
I'm glad he's coming out and saying it, because in the NFL, a lot of it's frowned upon to talk bad about the NFL, right? To bring up the bad parts of it. But good for Maxx Crosby to go out there and defend himself and be like, look, this is what happened, like, and show that the pattern that basically it wasn't me failing a physical. They just didn't want me there. Exactly what we all know, what happened now. Now, looking back at it now, we know that they were negotiating with Trey Hendrickson, with Maxx Crosby in their building, and just waiting until they got the right price that they wanted, and then be like, okay, we're doing this. They had buyer's remorse, and it was horrible that they had to drag Maxx Crosby through all this. Not only Maxx Crosby, his whole family and his friends. I don't. If you guys are watching and you guys haven't had a chance to go and watch that interview, it's a good 24-minute segment on it.
Yeah.
From the time he got the phone call from his agent, and how he reacted, all the way until the jet fly back all the way back and going back into the facility, and then how some of the Raider teammates reacted to him. So it's a whole 25-minute segment of breaking down every single part of it, which is pretty damn good.
Yeah, and shout out to the chat as well. Like, a lot of them are like, "Yo, that 5 hour flight plus the 2 hours driving is crazy." And then, yeah, that he talked about it. Jason's like, "Oh, what an embarrassing organization." The defense looked good on paper right now. Yeah. Jay Cortez says, "I'm glad that he's on our defense. Never gonna be a Max guy. I'm glad he's on our defense." Shout out to NFL Mike in here, man. This is where social media is good for players. That's true. That's definitely true. And shout out to my boy Raider John. He said they did our board dirty. They did, and you know what? Like I said, like I think it was it was meant to be. I think this whole situation was meant to be. But this did.
Mike is a big Raider hater.
He is,
and even he knows that they did Maxx Crosby dirty. Even he knows that what they did to Max was one of the worst things that the NFL franchise could do. And like you said, some media guys are out there calling them damaged goods. Out there saying, "Oh, Max is no good. He has that label." Like, what? Like, out of all this, how do you make Max still the bad guy? Like,
yeah, I don't know.
I feel bad for Max, and I'm glad that we have him on our team, and I'm glad that he's taking this personally, and he's going to come out pissed off.
Yeah,
I think
crazy.
Even the Raiders have taken it personal.
Oh, of course, but it's good to hear that. I've seen some reports saying that Max mended all his fences with the Raiders. If there was any sour taste in anybody's mouth, he went over there and made sure that hey, we're on good terms. We're gonna go into the season and be good. Now, this is I don't know for sure, but this should be the segment where he talks about like looking at all the moves that the Raiders made.
And I swear to God, bro, it's crazy how shit works. But I'm sitting there. And everything, like that Monday night when I got in after I worked out and I'm chilling in the hotel, it's like kind of late, but I can't sleep. Like my emotions are everywhere. Bro, every channel, Sports Center, this and that. Raiders making moves, da-da-da. Everything. I couldn't even open my phone. Everything was Raiders.
He know it too.
Damn, like why is this happening? I'm like, leave me alone. You know what I mean? Like,
and what were we just saying now on the live stream when we were talking about it too? It was like he probably looked at his phone like, all of a sudden these motherfuckers want to make moves and help the defense out. And I mean, he just basically said what we were all. I mean, a lot of Raider fans were saying like, we make all these moves once he leaves.
I posted that a comment on one of the Raiders things that day. I go,
Yeah.
Maxx Crosby checking his notifications, like, what the fuck? Like, what's going on? And I know. And then he said this today, and well, remember, so he's East Coast time. We're West Coast time. He's in Baltimore. He's on the East Coast. And remember when the Raiders signed the linebackers, when Quay Walker, Nakobe Dean, and Malcolm Kuhn signed, it was like 6:05 Eastern, 6:07 Eastern, and then like 6:11. Like it were like right
Back
there.
to
Like you
back
got
to
all
back.
three,
Who's yeah.
you got all three notifications. So he's probably like, damn, damn.
Damn, cuz. All of us cousin, man.
And I'm over
Yeah.
here with the franchise making me drive 2 hours to their stadium.
Oh,
Like,
that's the crazy thing. It was
In my head, I'm just like, I just want Wyatt. You know what I mean? And yeah, I kept seeing everything, and I'm like, damn, they got two crazy linebackers. They got fucking Linderbaum, dog. They got freaking Teron Johnson, dog.
working.
They
It
were
was
signing
working.
dudes. You know what I mean? Jalen Naylor from the Vikings and all these guys. I'm like, damn. Like they re-signed my boy East Stokes, which love East Stokes. That's my dog.
Kuntz got it
Yeah,
again.
you got the Georgia Bulldogs on defense with
Bro.
you.
Georgia Bulldogs everywhere, literally.
Quay
East Stokes is
Walker,
my dude, bro. Yeah,
Nakobe
there's Quay
Dean,
Walker,
Quiddy Pay.
Kobe.
Like let's
Woody Pay,
give a
another
quick shout
one.
out to all that. Like there's some moves. Kuntz got his
Coochie,
extension. He got another deal.
another one.
Shout out
too.
to the
He
front
got-
office.
Like let's give
Bro,
them a
yeah.
quick little round of applause here. All right, because
Yeah,
we're
big
gonna
shout to the
shift
guys.
gears here. We're 27 minutes into this show. We're gonna talk about Raiders. We're back. Everybody that was in the comments
Yeah.
all upset. We're not talking. We're talking about it. That is a hell of a free agency.
Facts.
Yeah, it was insane.
It was.
Bro. So shout out to them, bro. So I'm seeing this shit. I'm like, damn, like this is crazy. But I'm trying to just stay focused. Like this, I'm here in Baltimore. This is it.
like, yeah,
Like,
I'm with
that's
the
it.
Ravens,
Like
man.
you know me. Like once my mind, boom, I'm here. And then all this shit unravels on Tuesday, and then I'm all of a sudden I'm back flying back the next day. Never would have thought in a million years. So it was crazy, bro. It was like so much going on. I get back to Vegas like 12:30, like little after midnight in Vegas, and I freaking drive home as late as hell. I got right up 4:55 the next morning, got my ass in the building.
There we go. So yeah, we hear from Maxx Crosby's mouth, man. Like just looking at all the moves that the Raiders made, I knew he was excited. And I think after the whole situation that went down, he was forced to come back home. But shout out to the Ravens, at least they gave him the PJ on the one way to Vegas. He didn't have to take no drive, no nothing on a PJ back. We talked about it. I know you have a source inside the building that said, "Yo, Max is already on his way back home after the news broke." So he on the way back home working. And the big thing was, what would the decision be between Maxx Crosby and the Raiders? Will he stay, or would he still want to go somewhere else? And he made it known that he wants to stay a Raider this year, and he's going to go into the season with the team running it back and showing everybody who the hell Maxx Crosby is. So I think that's huge, and I think with the moves that the Raiders made in free agency definitely helped them with that decision. And you've even brought it up, Boost. Like even before the trade happened, it was like I feel like the Raiders should wait, or Max should wait and see what the Raiders do in free agency before we make that move. But I think afterwards,
well, yeah, 'cause I always said that Max. Oh my bad. I said that Max had that guaranteed contract, that guaranteed incentive, on the third day of this new year. I said, just wait till Friday. Like, just wait a little bit.
yeah, and I mean it's
and
crazy.
they guaranteed it. So if you guys don't know that already, they picked it up.
Oh yeah, he got that money. He said with that money now, that's his for next year. Oh, about what were you saying something?
Now, what I was going to tell you is watching the podcast, right? Maxx Crosby podcast. What I saw and what I really liked is the first person that called him after the trade. Like he said, he got a phone call from his agent, from CJ, right?
Yeah,
And it said, hey, Baltimore has offered 2 first-round picks. We'll let you know what happens.
yeah.
And then he said the next phone call he got was John Spytek.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said he was just staring at his phone like, oh shit, like, and he didn't pick it up because then he got the same. It was CJ calling him right back,
Yeah,
and so he picked up CJ's. But to me, I thought that was pretty cool that John Spytek, like that showed me that John Spytek had a lot of respect for Maxx Crosby, and he to be the first guy to call him and personally tell him, like he could have easily been like, let the agent do it and be done with it. So then he said that he talked to his agent, and then he called John Spikepeck back, and they had a great talk. So I'm sure, whatever, like you said before, like Max coming back to the building was never going to be an issue. It was just he wanted to win, and maybe he didn't feel that it was that at that time, and everybody gets frustrated. And sometimes you always think the grass is greener. Sometimes like you got to run away. Remember, like little kids always say, "Hey, I'm running away, Dad," and you pack your stuff and you walk halfway down the street and you come right back.
Like, oh damn, I'm gonna go back home. I'm gonna go back home. I think it made his decision much easier though. He said, "Max will get traded again." I mean, we'll see. I don't know.
The deadline.
Well, I mean, anything can happen. Depending on, I said this before. Depending on how the season goes this year, which I think it'll be much better, and we will have a little bit more fun this year than we did years prior. So I think he'll stay. If it goes to shit and even worse than last year, then we could revisit this and we could talk about it in the future. But you know, well, if the Raiders can't be all in on Max and not starting Fernando week 1, this conflict will come. But you know, it's funny.
I think that's two different. I think that's two different things.
Yeah, the Raiders can't be all in it. Who knows? The funny thing I seen, like this clip always has me laughing when he talks about how the Ravens got him the PJ, the PJ to Baltimore, and that whole travel situation is.
So then I get there, I get to the hotel. But no, this is the other part. They picked me up. They flew me to DC because there wasn't many flights. We flew first class. They flew me to DC because I was only straight through. We had to drive 2 hours from DC all the way to Baltimore after the 5-hour flight, bro. That shit was fucking weak.
Oh my!
I'm like,
damn.
You know what I mean? Like you're sitting on a plane all day. You're like, I just want to go and lay down for a second, catch my thoughts, bro. 2 hours in the car. I'm like, this is crazy. So we drove all the way to Baltimore to like the harbor, and we get there and it's like maybe 8:30 at this. Maybe I don't even know what time it is. Like 7, something like that. And I'm like, I need to get some work in. Like typical Monday, I'm in the building doing my thing. I'm like, I'm getting some work in regardless. So I went in, got my cardio, did my shit, whatever.
Yep.
And then got a sweat out. Rach went in there and tried to work with me on frying her ass on the bike. But I do my thing, and then Tuesday I have like a full day. You know what I mean? Like we get up in the morning, do our thing. You know what I mean? And then the shit changed. So that
So the funny thing about that is, like, you know, I was thinking I had a theory in my head. They probably purposely had them do that drive just so they could think about what they were gonna do moving forward. That whole time, probably thinking, "Oh, hey Trey, we might back out of this whole thing." They probably had. That's probably where they had cold feet. When you wait a little bit long when you make a decision and you think about it, like, damn, I shouldn't have done that, huh? That's probably what they were thinking that whole time he drove that 2 hours to Baltimore. And crazy thing is, like, we've seen the stories. Is the story when they finally got to Baltimore and got to the facility, and Maxx Crosby put that story up there. Not too long after that, they made that decision. Like, yeah, we're not gonna keep you around, bro. So I think the whole thing is crazy.
He says how he walked up, he finally got to go upstairs and meet Coach Mentor and the GM, and he said when he went to dab him up, he could feel the energy wasn't there, and he was like, okay, like. It already felt off like that. It's just from the beginning. And like I said, I'm already glad Max has come out. Like not just because he is on the Raiders, but I like when people are able to throw facts out there and defend themselves. So hey, good for him.
Good for Maxx Crosby.
What a crazy fucking story though,
bro. What?
I don't know if this was the same trip, but he was talking about how he saw like somebody die outside of his hotel in Baltimore.
That's what I said. He is the same one, bro.
He said he didn't actually see it, but he saw like the guy getting CPR done on him, and he saw the ambulance come, and basically the guy was dead, but he got shot right there on the street in Baltimore. So he was like,
that's probably that was probably a sign. That was probably a red flag. It was, hey, this ain't for you. This is where people go where their careers die. Who knows? But anywho, hey, like you said, the whole situation is crazy. It's like the whole Maxx Crosby situation. But this is a good thing. Like, I mean, shout out to Mike. This is why some of these players have a platform to they give their side of the story and they could tell it from their lens instead of leaving it up to the media and all these analysts and whatnot. But this is also a reason why us Raider fans, including you, we're so adamant on Max. If you want to stay, just say it. You have a platform to say it. Or if you want to go, you have a platform to say it. Of course, he didn't say anything up until that moment happened. But like I said, man, kudos to Max. Welcome back to the team, back in black. I'm happy that he's a part of this team moving forward. But it's good to see his side of the story, though. And I'm excited for what this team can do this season with the addition of Maxx Crosby. And we already seen that, hey, Maxx Crosby is happy with the moves that the Raiders made, and he was excited about it. Now he gets to play with those guys. And hopefully we get to restructure his contract too and just get a little bit more money, but who knows?
Somebody wants you to clip up the part where he says weak.
Weak. I think I will, bro. That part is funny. That shit was fucking weak. Let me see.
I get to the hotel. But no, this is the other part. They picked me up. They flew me to DC. Because there wasn't many flights. They flew. It's like we flew.
Make sure to make it. No,
they flew me to DC because I was only straight through. We had to drive 2 hours from DC all the way to Baltimore after the 5-hour flight, bro. That shit was fucking weak.
I'm gonna add that to the soundboard. Hey, shout out to the chat. I might add that to the soundboard and use it for future references. That shit was fucking weak. Hold on.
That's fucking weak.
Oh my!
Shout out my boy Brogan, dog. But yeah, no, that shout out to the Rush, shout out to them boys out there, man. Shout out to Palmazic for the $10 dono. He says, "Dope live, gentlemen. Thanks to Condor with a boulder on his shoulder and some serious dogs behind him locked in before the preseason. That's tough. Will you be at the draft? Peace." Raiders. Shout out to my boy Paul Mazik, though. As far as the draft, though, the plan is we will be there. Me and Joe will be there. I'm just trying to figure out credential stuff and whatnot before we get there. At worst, if things don't go as planned, we will do a live stream for day one. We'll actually be live in studio, me, Joe, and possibly some guests as well. So nonetheless, we'll go live or we'll get some content and we'll do it up. We know the first overall pick is gonna be Fernando Mendoza, but we're gonna be over here singing. We're gonna be singing and running that song up like a mug. But the number one plan for us is we will be in Pittsburgh. I guess I'll talk it into existence. We will be in Pittsburgh and we will be covering the draft and hopefully get a little something from Fernando himself.
TJ trying to fly us into Washington and make us drive 4 hours.
Hey, that's one thing we won't do. We ain't flying nowhere to drive anywhere. We flying into the destination. I'm not. Remember when Jesse thought that we were flying to San Francisco? It's like, dang, you guys gonna drive far where the whole thing is at. No, the thing is in San Francisco for the Super Bowl. He's like, no, we flying into the destination. We ain't going far. Don't worry. We got our maps. We got our Google Maps. But as far as Pittsburgh, we will be flying into Pittsburgh. And whoever is going to be over there, I'll be vlogging the whole trip. And we going to do our thing over there. Nonetheless, it's going to be cool. But shout out to the nation. Shout out to my boy, Joe. I don't know if you have anything else that you wanted to talk about. But I know we went live at night. I don't know if this... What were you going to say?
I just like how 31-1 Nation, he said, this is the ESPN 30 for 30 story right here. Yeah, it kind of is, man. The
Raiders got documentaries for days. The Raiders got documentaries for days. You talk about the 2019 season, or the 2019 season, the season that never was with Antonio Brown. You talk about the 2021 season. Oh, the team that was never supposed to make the playoffs, and then you talk about the 2026 team. Oh, so the Maxx Crosby saga, and just imagine if the Raiders make the playoffs this year, Lord willing, knock on wood, that would definitely be a 34-30. I mean, that's a crazy way.
Make the playoffs and play the Ravens first round.
Oh,
that would make
I like where you're going with that one, though.
I don't know if we
but
ever talked about that. What John Marshall's saying about Sean Payton paid for
I
the
seen that.
private
You know
jet.
what? I seen that he was willing to pay for his trip out there, right? But now he was willing to ship him out there in the PJ. Hey, get your ass out of the AFC West. But I guess he gonna be on his way back. I don't know if he paid for his PJ back though. I think the Ravens did though, but I know
Was
he was
Sean
probably
Payton the
mad.
one that got him to Washington? I mean,
He's the one that got into Washington and made him drive us. That'd be crazy.
Sean
Oh
Payton,
man, but hey, I mean that whole saga is kind of crazy. But shout out to the chat, shout out to everybody up in here, shout out to my host Joe for coming on this live. Rescheduling. I think it was pretty cool though having everybody on here. If you guys enjoy these night ones, let us know in the chat below.
Yeah, let's
Well,
morning, night. Which one works?
yeah, morning or night. Like we like both. I mean, I kind of like this because I don't have to wake up too early. But I still love the mornings. It makes me get up too. So I think this is cool. So Raider Nation, we're gonna get everything situated. Trust me, we're gonna get the show dialed in once April starts. So it's gonna be cool though. But until then, you guys can always find me at Samoan Raider on all social media platforms, and of course, you can find the Big Goose Joe at the Joe Morley. Until the next one, we are out of here.
Super Bowl.